So we're looking at number lines in this video, and with number lines you recognize that you have integers, you have the negative numbers, and then you have positive numbers. Now with the negative numbers we have, it goes -1, -2, -3. Now notice that the further away from 0 you go, the smaller you are. So -10 is actually less than -1. In math we use this sign for less than, and that for greater than, and of course we have the less than or equal to and the greater than or equal to, which we'll talk about in the inequality video. But it's important to note that when you're dealing with numbers here in the negative realm, the bigger number here, okay, just the number by itself without the sign, it's way smaller when you introduce that negative sign to the number that would be smaller than it if you were just looking at the number itself. But let's look at like 10 and 1. Well, 10 is greater than 1, right? So pay attention to how the number line helps us with that. Now, we can use the number line for a few things. Number one, we can use it to compare. The closer you are, so here you're closer to 0, so you're bigger than all those. That goes to -infinity, and this goes to positive infinity. No matter how big you think of an actual number, we could probably think of a number bigger than that. And so when you think of the weight of the sun, you're thinking of 10 with 30 zeros behind it. It's a nonillion, over 1 nonillion, so 2 nonillion kilograms. And so notice that even when we get to nonillion, 10 to the 30th, we can go to 10 to the 100, 10 to the 1,000, and so on and so forth. The Googleplex being the biggest one we use. So this number goes on forever in that direction. But let me just give you 2 quick examples on how to use the number line. So example 1, if someone were to ask you what is 2 plus 3? What that means is you go to the number 2 and you add 3, which means you move to the right 3 times. So 1, 2, 3. So what is 2 plus 3? 2 plus 3 is 5. And what about if we're dealing with negative numbers? So what is -4 plus 2? So when you have -4 plus 2, you go to -4, you start there, and you move 1, 2. And so that answer is -2. If you're subtracting, like -6 minus 4, then you go to -6 and you move to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that would be -10. So here's one last thing about number lines and sequences, is that you recognize there's a difference of 1 in between each one and the next. So this is 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 1. A difference of 1. Now if I remove some of these numbers, so let's say I remove the odd numbers, so I remove those odd numbers, and I ask you, what number would go here? Well, you look at 2 to 4, and notice that there's the half of that would be 3. Or if you're looking at 4 and 6, you find half of that, you find 5, the number in between. And I can choose to erase, every other even number. And so now it's going 4, 8, 12. So I can ask you, what's the next number going to be? So you notice the pattern. The pattern is I'm adding 4 every single time. So when I add 4, I get 8. Add 4, I get 12. Add 4, I will get 16. So remember, you can use number lines to compare numbers. You can use number lines to add and subtract and do those calculations. And you can use number lines to keep track of sequences in mathematics. So keep studying and working hard, and I hope that this number line example helps you as you continue. Thank you.